Today is March 30th, 2016. This is your fishing report for upper Lake of the Ozarks in around the 50-55 mile marker area and above and below that as well. This report is courtesy of Joe's Lake Ozark Guide Service. Water level has come up a little bit since we did a report last week. It's gone up, it's 654.7, so the water has raised about a half a foot to almost a foot. And so that's actually helping the bite back in the creeks and back in the coves a little bit. The water temperature today has stayed around 52 degrees. Yesterday when I was on the water all day, water temperature in the morning was around 50, 51, and it got up as high as I saw as 53, maybe even pushing a little bit of 54 in the late afternoon when the sun was on the water. So we're starting to get that water temperature up where it's at a manageable point, and the fish are starting to feel more comfortable as far as what's going on. The fish are still kind of in a pre-spawn mode, but they're getting really close wanting to spawn. When that water temperature gets above 55 degrees, those bass will really start head towards those spawning areas. So what we targeted the last 2 days was the spawning areas. We started actually in spawning areas and worked our way out backwards, and then actually was catching our fish in that first drop off or that first channel bank right next to a spawning area. So some of these fish are really starting to think about spawning. And so if you're heading to the lake, that's what I would do. I would start back in a spawning pocket and then work my way out. And the nice thing about Lake of the Ozarks, if you catch fish just inside the point of a spawning pocket, you can go to the next spawning pocket, and that will probably hold true because Lake of the Ozarks is a very, very good lake to pattern fish. All right, here's what we're catching fish on. Still throwing a shaky head. This is a crocodigator stand-up head. I've got a zoom trick worm on here. It's what we like to throw. Just try to keep it pretty much basic and simple. There are other baits you could put on a stand-up head, but that's usually a pretty good choice. Just outside of the spawning pockets on those points, been throwing a wobble head. This is actually, I believe, a chomper's wobble head. Gene LaRue makes a hard head. I think it's called a hard head wobble head that Tommy Biffle kind of invented. But the thing about a wobble head is the jig head actually wobbles back and forth, and as this bait, as you drags it on the bottom, it actually creates more action as this bait wobbles back and forth, and will trigger a few more strikes. Very easy to fish. You just throw it out there, let it sink all the way to the bottom, and then just crank it like a crankbait, and the fish will usually load up on it if you get one in front of their face. The jig bite has really turned on the last couple days. Last week, jig bite wasn't really quite there yet. The jig bite has really turned on the last couple days. In fact, yesterday we caught a lot of 3-pounders on the jig. And again, this is a crocodigator zapper jig. I usually throw a ½ ounce when it's windy, like it's been here in the spring on some nice days. And then I've been tipping it with a crocodigator ring crawl trailer. You can also use a zoom critter crawl, works well. And as the bass get more aggressive, I'll probably change my trailer, go to one that has more of a the claws of the crawl will probably have more of an aggressive flapper type action, like a zoom speed crawl, or they just need any kind of crawl that the flappers will move a little bit more as the bass get more aggressive. Still catching fish on spinner baits. You know, they're moving up shallow. You can get on some shallow wood and find some fish on spinner baits. And then as this water temperature warms in the next couple weeks, I was looking at the forecast in April, looks like we're going to have some 70-degree days. This water temperature is going to get up into the mid-50s and stay there. It's going to be time to go back and throw that buzzbait again. Buzzbait's a really good bait to throw early in the spring, and usually if you catch one on it, it's a pretty good bait. Still catching fish, and we will still be catching fish on the square bill. This is a Strike King 2.5, and I've been throwing this mainly catching fish off lay-down logs on these Strike King square bills, catching some nice fish. Let me show you one I caught this morning. This is one that we caught this morning on a lay-down log. Again, for you guys that are going to be fishing the Big Bass Bash here in about 3 weeks, this fish came real close to deep water, back in a creek, back in a main creek, and a big lay-down log, and cranked it. The bait deflected off the log. The fish loaded up on it, and you know, was able. And this fish, when I mean loaded up on it, this fish ate it. The bait was completely inside the fish's mouth. So you know, the square bill crankbaits are going to be a good bait to throw from now all the way through November in the upper lake area, because there's so much timber and lay down logs and big rocks that you can bang and deflect these things off of. We'll catch fish on these most of the year. So Any questions, you know, you can get on my website and email me. My phone number's there. You can call me too. If you're interested in a guide trip for the Upper Lake area, it's basically where I guide anywhere from 40-mile marker up to about 70. You know, give me a call. If you want more information on Lake of the Ozarks, especially the lower end, there's a website called bassingbob.com. Excellent information. A lot of the top pros on the lake tell you a lot of what they're doing to catch fish on that website. A lot of secrets, a lot of really good videos, including some of my videos get put on there too. So until next time, next report, good fishing, take care, and be careful. Thank you.